3, there it goes to that stream. Let's see it coming over here. Come on. Okay. Here we go. Let me add that to screen. And you can talk during this if you wish, but I'll be doing some other stuff. Here we go.
Hi. I'm hoping that you could explain, without using a single buzzword or a conservative talking point, what CRT is.
So you want to go back to Herbert Marcuse, the Frankfurt School, Michel Foucault, Jacques Derrida,
I want you to answer
man?
my question.
No, I'm just asking you, how far back do you want me to go?
I want you to explain what CRT is.
What CRT is comes out of critical theory, which came out of the Frankfurt School, which is a belief that there are systems that exist both institutionally and systemically, and that through critical theory, which also has critical law theory, through the kind of the changing of how we view society must be through a racial lens and not through a economic lens or through a legal lens. And if you look very clearly at the writings of Marcuse, at the writings of Spinoza, especially in the early 1990s where this started to pop up, there was this idea that we must give preference based on the melanin content of people's skin, not on actions, not on choices. And instead, because America's so unequal, because it is so inequitable, that these writers and authors that were the beginning people that actually started this term critical race theory 50 or 60 years ago believed that this would be a true Marxist type movement that would help happen in this country. It was kind of fostered and started in many different universities across this country. Marcuse came from the Frankfurt School. One of his disciples is still alive, Angela Davis. And it really kind of comes back to the couple beliefs that CRT believes in, to make it overly simple. Number one, that there is no such thing as absolute truth. That number two, power dynamics are more important than anything else. Number three, skin color should be something that has a top priority in how we characterize people and their worth and their dignity. Number four, that kind of American history and kind of how we teach it is completely wrong. Five, that America is systemically racist, and I could continue from that. That right there is a 35,000-foot view. Happy to go deeper, but that is the history of critical race theory, and it's evolved into terms of wokeism, diversity, equity, inclusion, the idea of America being systemically racist, 1619 Project. They're all outgrowths of the postmodern deconstructionist type viewpoint that started in the 1960s from Marcuse, who was a Marxist type believer in the Frankfurt School, was expelled, found domicile here in America, and implemented in our colleges. How'd I do?
I do appreciate that response. Thank you. You did use the word wokeism, which is a conservative buzzword, unfortunately. I'm going to take my seat. Thank you.
How about this? How about this? Garbage.
Totally using it to discriminate against others. That's what they do. Totally do that. I don't know why that didn't enlarge back up to there. There we go. Welcome, Juan. You want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
My name is Juan Andres Carrasco. My late 20s. I'm very much passionate about the issues of our day, such as fighting against critical race theory, saving the lives of babies inside the womb, and also artificial intelligence safety. I'm very much committed towards the well-being of humanity. You know, I believe that we were gifted with life, brains capable of wisdom. Must we use these brains of ours in order to fight wars amongst each other, murder each other? No, we should not. We should use our gifts with wisdom and to help out humanity.
Oh, I agree. So what got you
went from saying that my outfit was really cute.
Sorry.
What was that?
Oh, what got you started in this? I don't know if you can hear that when I'm opening other videos, getting them prepped. So.
Yeah, I can hear the videos.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what got me into this? Well, I was raised in a very liberal household, and not only that, but leftist. You know, same difference. But I was raised in a very left-leaning household. I'll say it like that. And then later on in school, since I was in public school, I ended up going to all of these.
So you were on the left at one time?
I was on was on the liberal side of things. I think that's what you were asking. Sorry,
Yeah.
I cut off a little bit. I used to be, but then 2017, I became more aware of how important the pro-life issue is, and that's what made me switch over towards the Republican Party. I just got really convicted that children inside the womb should not be murdered, and that's really what helped get me onto the other side of things. As I got older, I saw over at the College of Southern Nevada woke ideology make its way in, and that really stirred me up to take a stand. Not just that, but other left-leaning issues as well. You know, it just motivated me to take a stand against these things. And it then eventually, as I saw the culture shift even further to the left, I was introduced to this podcast called Conversations That Matter, which is hosted by Jonathan Harris, also goes by the alias John Harris. And he really explained in a simple and down-to-earth manner why CRT is wrong, and also why it's such a threat to our culture. And that really helped me to take a stand on these issues, because I saw that things were just constantly getting worse. So between him and other people, I just realized that I needed to take a stand. So I got onto different social media platforms like X, and then eventually I got back to Instagram and CloudHub, and I just started just little by little growing a platform where I could speak on the issues of our time. I've also studied a lot about AI, because I believe that we are very close towards the development of artificial general intelligence. So given the...
Who controls it is the scary part. You know?
Oh yeah, big time. Not only do we have the issue of AI possibly going rogue, there's also the fact that a lot of the companies that own these AIs are very left-leaning. So that's also a
and
huge
the people
problem.
working there.
Big time. You've heard the phrase "garbage in, garbage out." So if you ever get a response from an AI that sounds a little, biased, very biased at times, that's wise. If an AI gets trained off of poor data, it's going to give you poor results. So it's something where there is a great need for conservatives to study the issues of our times, get involved, and also for people who have the passion to become experts in the field of artificial intelligence.
I was just saying hi to some people in the audience. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's very important to get involved in these issues. There's also the fact that just for the people who don't know, artificial general intelligence refers to an AI that is capable of more or less doing the same tasks that we can, with more or less the same level of intelligence. So in other words, it could do physics about as well as humans can. It could do mathematics about as well as humans can. It can write, it can reason, it can do politics
a lot faster.
about as well. Yeah, so as soon as it becomes about as smart as we are, then immediately it's going to have the upper hand in many ways.
It makes you think of Terminator there, the movie. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't watched them all, but if anything, it's even more dangerous than that in some ways, because Skynet didn't use bioweapons. Skynet, in many of them, especially the earlier movies, didn't use nanites. So the threat of an actual artificial intelligence could be even worse, because an AI, if it's able to hack using the cybersecurity capabilities, which it could either glean from studying humans or develop on its own, it's more likely going to be a combination of the two. It could theoretically hack its way into different servers, different factories, and so forth, mass produce drones, and then set them out to kill us, as well as deploying bioweapons. So,
and it can hide itself in there too.
Yeah, it can also hide itself. There's just several techniques that hackers, both ethical hackers and threat actors, they use in order to get into a system and go undetected for months, if not years at a time. There's just many techniques that an AI could theoretically use. It can even use something as simple as a phishing attack, where it basically sends like this link that seems legitimate to someone via an email.
To respond to it.
Yeah, and then they respond to it, and then all of a sudden it just has access to your computer, and from there it starts spreading all over the network. So there's just a lot.
I don't know if there's any turning back of having AI. I think it's who controls it is what's going to be the issue. You know, whether China, us. I don't even trust our own government, though. I'll tell you the truth, to be honest. You know, so I don't know what your opinion is on it.
Well, I believe that, yeah, making AI as safe as possible, as ethically as possible is very important for the survival of our species. Another thing that's very
Got to be an
concerning.
off switch for it, though.
What happened?
We need an off switch for it. We can't have it so they can't be turned off. You know.
Yeah, that's actually what makes things even more scary in a sense, or at least concerning.
Well, I thought they made this one robot, and it found out that it had self-defense to protect itself from being turned off or something like that, or things changed on it. It figured out how to do self-defense of itself, so it couldn't be ended. You know, it's sentient, I guess you would call it.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's very interesting because that's very much reminiscent of the stop button problem. Is how do you make an AI that can be stopped in the event that it goes rogue? Ideally, we wouldn't want the AI to, be misaligned from human goals. But in the event that it is, how do you stop it? And it's actually a much more difficult problem than meets the eye. Because let's say that, you have your child, and because for whatever reason, bring your child to work day or something like that, and you program your robot to get you a cup of coffee. The robot's on his merry way towards get you the cup of coffee. The baby gets in the way of the robot, and the problem is that to the robot, it's not so much that it necessarily hates the baby; it's just getting you a cup of coffee. So what ends up happening is that
it'll do what it do to do that.
What's that?
It'll do what it needs to do to go do the task at hand. It'll do it has no morals of its own.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have any morals. So it's something where, you might think, well, I'll just put a big button on its chest or something like that so I can just turn it off. But the problem is that if the AI is intelligent enough, it will see you trying to stop it by shutting off and everything. But the problem is that in its utility function, which is basically how it ranks certain outcomes, it perceives that getting you the cup of coffee will give it basically, like, let's say 100 points in reward. But if you shut it off, it doesn't get the reward. What basically motivates an AI to do a certain task is these rewards. So it tries to stop you from it because it doesn't get any rewards if it doesn't get you the cup of coffee because it's shut off. So
you think it'll get to a point that it'll cause a lot of humans to get real lazy? Mentally as well as physically.
It could very well, that could very well happen because, like the way that people want to solve the situation that we're in is that they want AI to mass produce and get to the point where human labor is no longer really necessary because the AI can just do everything better and faster and smarter than we can. So the reasoning is that the AIs basically run everything, and we basically just get a universal basic income where we just get, like a check in the mail, metaphorically speaking, and then we spend on stuff.
Socialism 101. Socialism 101. You'll get your rations.
Yeah, it's something that the elites have been telling us for a while. I believe it was Carl Schwab who said, "You'll own nothing and you'll be happy."
Well, they'll be happy actually, but
yeah,
because they'll control everything.
Yeah, notice how they use their words carefully. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy. They didn't say we'll own nothing. No, they say you'll own nothing, you'll be happy. So they'll own the in their worldview and their paradigms, they want to own the AIs, they want to own everything, and we don't. Nature abhors a vacuum. So if we don't own the rights to our, let's say, cars, for example, then someone else is going to own them. You can't just have ownership vacuum there. Like they're the ones that's going to be controlling everything, which is all the more the reason for conservatives to get involved in AI development and AI safety, because we need that edge in order to make
We
sure
have to
that
know how it works too, to be able to manually turn it off if we have to, go
yeah,
in and
that as well. That as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Can you ever see a point where they do see us as useless eaters, where they'll want to exterminate a lot of us that aren't useful to them?
Thank you for asking the question. So we could get to that point if it's not properly aligned with our goals. So the alignment problem is something that's very important in the field of artificial safety, artificial intelligence safety, because we want to make sure that its goals align with ours. To give a simple analogy that Elon Musk has used, and I'm not here to endorse people, I'm just referencing people as the opportunity arises. Elon Musk,
I think he has good intentions himself,
yeah,
but it could turn into not good things, So
well, the point that I'm trying to make is that he has given this analogy where when humans are, let's say, creating a road, if there's an anthill in the way, it's not so much that the humans necessarily hate the ants, they're just building a road. So once the road gets to the point where the anthill's in the way, they'll just destroy it and then continue to make their road. The same thing could happen with an artificial intelligence, is that it could be trying to create something like more skyscrapers or something like that, and we didn't program it correctly, and it just sees us as a threat towards its end goal of creating skyscrapers, and therefore it just decides to kill us all so that it can just keep building skyscrapers. The problem with AI is that unless it's programmed very carefully, it could end up giving us what we want, just not in the way that we intended for that to happen. So, for example, an analogy that's been given is, let's say someone wants to create as many stamps as possible. The AI could just go crazy making more and more stamps. The person could be like, okay, this is too much, and try to reprogram the AI. But the AI, if it senses that this could be happening, it'll wipe out the person, not necessarily, again, because it hates the person, but because it realizes that
it won't be turned off or changed or anything.
It doesn't want to be turned off because it realizes that if that happens, it can't reach its goal. So an instrumental goal for most AIs is for them to continue to exist. It's not like they necessarily it's not that they necessarily have this fear of like, oh no, what happens if I'm gone? It's just that it turns out that existing is an instrumental goal, which is necessary in order for an AI to reach its terminal goal, which is whether it be creating more stamps or even creating, more burgers or something like that. In AI, once it's given a goal, once it's given a terminal goal, I should say, once it's given a utility function, which
do you work in this field?
I'm very passionate about the field. I've studied a lot in comparison to this podcast. I'm attempting to get a Blue Team Level 1 certification in the field of cybersecurity. I'm also trying to get certifications in AI as well. I'm being mentored by someone.
I got to get you in touch with Asia Branch. She's been doing AI as well, but she's doing animation, like video type with AI. Very good ones, actually. It becomes very realistic these days.
Oh yeah, very
insanely good. So, and she's doing it, but she's afraid of AI, like you, of it doing too much. Worrying about it taking control or someone taking control of it. Because if someone controlled the AI of the world, they would control the world. There would be no stopping them, right?
Yeah, so, yeah. And lest there be any misunderstanding amongst the audience, it's not that I'm against AI. AI has the possibility of curing many diseases, helping us colonize the moon, Mars, and beyond. The possibilities are tremendous with AI, and it could give us a very important edge. The problem is that how AI is developed.
It could be a lot of power, though, too.
Oh yeah, big time. For two reasons. The US and China right now are stuck in an AI arms race, basically. And that itself could be its own podcast. But the problem is that we have two choices. We could either develop AI very safely, very carefully, and at times very slowly in order to make sure that its goals are properly aligned with ours. But the problem is that if we're too slow, China could surpass us, and thus giving China the edge. So the problem is that how do we make AI fast enough so that we will continue to have that advantage over China and other
And
adversaries
always be
around us?
ahead of them a little bit, especially. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like,
always be ahead of them, you know.
hopefully we will be, but there's the issue of like, will we sacrifice safety in order to get more of that edge? There's also the issue that China's really good at hacking. It's really good at infiltration, so it could
Spying.
steal that information from us, and they have stolen from us a lot in the past. That's one of the ways that they've accelerated their growth so rapidly.
Plus, we have politicians for sale.
Oh yeah, big time. Jonathan Harris actually had someone on his podcast before the election. He wrote an entire book about Kamala Harris and her communist background and everything, with a field, from what I understand, with a lot of primary sources. So yeah, the infiltration is just tremendous. It's something else.
Yeah. Someone asked in the audience if when you became red pilled, if you had trouble with your family or friends, did you lose a lot of friends and all that? Are they still on the left, or they become to the right now?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It's something where back when I was using Facebook.
Juan, so the illegal immigration probably is an issue in your family thing, with them being against the deportation of ICE.
Yeah, it is a tough issue, big time in Hispanic communities, where a lot of them think that's the loving thing to do is just to have open borders. They think that, and even there's even some Caucasians out there in this country that they're very big on
white liberals, women especially.
Yeah, they're very big on having the open borders. They actually think that a lot of people, they actually think that enforcing the immigration laws is a form of fascism, which is doesn't necessarily have to be fascism. I mean, maybe we just love our neighbors. Maybe we just love our countries. People who
they're trying to destroy America, actually, because they want socialism, actually.
It's a spectrum. A lot of people, I think they do it because they haven't really been taught a public political framework by which someone can both be loving and love the law of the land as well. Some people, they go through college, they get taught leftism. They're with their family.
Very far left leftism.
There, they get
the whole trans issue and all that kind of stuff, trying to trans in kids and
a lot of that. The loving thing is to be inclusive and everything, and that's the times that we live in. So when approaching someone that's from that worldview, it's not necessarily that they hate this country. It's just that a lot of them, they've never been taught differently, and some people, they genuinely.
Well, have you ever seen some of their chants when they march? No Trump, no such and such, no USA at all. They don't want any USA. Some of them on the left.
So I haven't seen everything out there, but yeah, it is sad. I've talked to a family member of mine, who's on the left, and she just hates this country big time. And I try to make it more personal by telling her that, your friends live here, your family lives here. Like, you should want what's best for your country.
Why are so many people trying to get into America if it isn't the best country?
Yeah, that too. It's like, if America's just such an awful place, why does so many people from all over the world want to come here? Which isn't to say that this country is perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
There is no such thing.
Yeah, there is no such thing as perfect country. And the sect of the woke, they're very adamant about like making progress and heading towards utopia, but it's just something where, like, in the history of the world, every country has had its flaws, unfortunately, and that's something that's very
In the
problematic.
long run, it tends to make you better, though, to learn from them, like
What was that
slavery.
one?
It tends to make you a better country if you learn from it, if you're able to correct, ending slavery and other things, equal rights and stuff like that. It tends to make the country better in the long run, you know.
Well, there's a lot of things that could be said on that. What I can say is that, in the brief minutes that I have, is that we can.
Oh, there's
try
no
to
rigid
learn-
timing. I said about an hour. It's up to you.
Huh? I
There's no
think I can
rigid
go a little
timing.
long. Okay, I
Yeah.
think I think I can go a little longer, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's something where, um, yeah, we definitely can learn from our past and should learn from our past. But something that I was thinking about recently is that those who control how the past is written and taught,
Sure.
they really shape the future. That's what a lot of all these things about.
Sure.
Let's tear down monuments. Let's just America's just very awful, is because they want to steer the country in a different direction, and they try to paint everything as like, it's either. I don't
That's
use
why
the
the
term-
left is so much into our schools and colleges.
What's that?
That's why the left is so much in our schools and colleges.
Oh yeah, big time. Is that they want to control the next generation, and that also like has a lot to do with social media, and even like words like transphobic and all that stuff. It's all shaped around shaping the way how we think, how we interact with each other. You control the language, you control public opinion quite well. So it's very important that we've become cognizant of these issues. And I think a lot of people on the right have. They've thrown political correctness away.
Stop
For
watching
about a decade ago.
MSNBC and stuff like that. And CNN. Stop watching MSNBC and CNN.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
Being a little bit aware of what, being somewhat aware of what people are saying on the other side is important, so we can counteract their arguments. But it is also important not to fall down the rabbit hole, for lack of a better word, and just continually be exposing oneself to error. Because at a certain point, you gotta say, like, no, like I already know that 2 + 2 does not equal 5, and these are the reasons why. And like I've heard someone say, like, I want to have an open mind, but I don't want to have it so open that my brain falls out. Which is maybe not the perfect metaphor, but it just goes to show that there's only so many hours in the day. At a certain point, you gotta say, okay, I've made my analysis, and I know that what I know is true because of reasons X, Y, and Z. So it's very important that we just not go down the rabbit trails of like, well, you can't speak on this issue until you've read like these 20 books. These 20 books on CRT and stuff like that. Like, no, like ethnic partiality is just wrong.
It's just common sense. It's just common sense, some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a certain day that you all of a sudden went from the left to the right, or was it very gradual, or how did it happen?
In October of 2017, I registered to become a Republican. So I guess that would be the time when I officially switched over. But
just before you voted, was that for voting for Trump? Was it? No, he won in 2016. So it was after Trump was elected the first time.
Yeah, it was after the Trump era.
So you probably hated him at one time.
When I was younger, I was more opposed to him. It's something where like I think that it's very easy to be sucked into the anti-Trump mantra when all you get exposed to is a certain angle and so forth. But it's just very important that we love people, even the people that we disagree with. I don't want to hate Kamala Harris. I don't want to hate Joe Biden. I don't want to hate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I want to love all people. And when people do something that's wrong or say something that's wrong, I'll be like, I disagree with this person for reasons X, Y, and Z, but I shouldn't hate them, And none of us are perfect. I don't do that perfectly. I don't think anyone walking upon this earth today does it perfectly, but we should strive to not be so hateful of our fellow human beings,
Yeah, the whole abortion thing is they want to get rid of us. Like they want to end our lives. That with the trans issue too. They don't want us to reproduce. You know, they don't want us to have kids. That's part of the trans issue too. Is they don't
Oh
want us
yeah,
to
like a lot of the goals of the left, a lot of the end goals, they don't realize it, many of them, but a lot of the end goal is to reduce the human population down to just 2 billion people. The elites have made it clear that they want to have a sustainable world, and in order to have that, we have to get rid of so many people. No, the solution is not, let's just kill a bunch of people. No, the solution is more innovation. That way we can build in a way that's actually sustainable.
There's a lot more. They're growing a lot more food than they used to, and there's a lot better ways to grow the food, and more. And they could make it more nutritious. They're modifying it with NGO type stuff, and modifying the food, which is bad. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not an expert in genetic engineering or any of those things. But,
well, they're modifying the weather some now. I know that they can enhance a storm and make it worse. That's what they're able to do now. So, FYI. Anyways, and then in the spring, the clouds with aluminum in it and all that, hurts your immune system and all that. Anyways, you're pro-life, right?
Mm-hmm. Extremely, one without exceptions.
Here's a pro-life lady talking to someone on the street who's a well-known leftist. Have you seen this clip or no?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall. If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is.
It is. Who are you, Nancy?
I sound dumb.
You
sound dumb as okay.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your point of view is very obstructed. And I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really...
wrong with you? That's the left getting triggered for you. I don't know if you've ever run into that if you've been ever out like protesting or at rallies or anything yourself.
I've been to college campuses before, and fortunately, I've never been hit before. But yeah, that's intense right there. Just being hit. And then on top of that, talk about being so desensitized to reality that you literally are being recorded and you do that anyways. I mean, that's just something insane. Else. And what do you accomplish by even punching the lady? You don't accomplish anything positive whatsoever. They're just going to keep holding on to their beliefs.
Hey, John. Hey, Mark. Sorry, I'm just saying hi to people.
Yeah, that's understandable. So yeah, it's very important that we remain cool and just lovingly expose these people, because this is just one of those another reason why the leftist control of our institutions is just something that's so repugnant. Is because they don't actually get taught what actual tolerance is. See, we should tolerate people, not necessarily ideas. If
they can't really debate that's not a human life. It is a human life, They can't really debate that, so they get angry, right? When they start losing the debate.
Oh yeah, it's something where I think that oftentimes what's happening is that they just get to the point where their brain really can't.
You're wrong, and that's it.
Yeah, they can't handle the situation anymore. So out of that, they just respond with all this sheer anger, because that anger is their attempts to regain control of the situation. So if, let's say, two people are playing, a game of chess or something like that. Let's say I'm playing chess against someone, a hypothetical person like Bob Bobson or something like that. I'm playing chess. I'm about to go for the checkmate, and he just flips the chessboard. Well, he didn't actually win, but it makes him feel like he got the upper hand there because he ended the game on his terms. But that didn't really give him the actual victory. And that's oftentimes what's happening with these people, is that they want to have control of the situation, so they just resort to violence. and they want to destroy people because their worldview is not let's love humanity, let's love people. It's more of this like we must prevail. The other side is just fundamentally evil, and it's not that their ideas are evil; they themselves are evil. It's not just that their ideas are destructive for society. No, the people themselves are destructive for society, and they must be terminated. And that's problematic, big time.
You've seen some of these people claiming that they're going to have abortion after abortion after abortion. You know, they should get married and that if they're going to have kids, you know, they should. My thinking.
Yeah, it's something else. Because by what standard do they murder, you know, children anyways? It's something where all human beings from the moment of conception, they have their own unique genetic code. At about 5 to 6 weeks, they have a heartbeat that's detectable via ultrasound, and for that I would cite Medical News Today, and for the previous fact I would cite the Loiser Institute and PubMed. Rapid brain development is occurring at about 10 weeks in general, with 250 neurons being created, not per hour, but per minute. And that's according to Focus on the Family. Thumb sucking and even smiling is possible at about the 14-week mark. And for the thumb sucking fact, I would also cite Focus on the Family. Babies inside the womb tend to feel pain about 12 to 20 weeks, and that's according to WebMD and ACOG, and vitality is possible at 22 weeks, though it's as low as 5 to 6%. And nonetheless, goes to show that even at the 22-week point, babies being able to survive outside their mother's wombs is something that's a viable option, and that's according to a baby center. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd rather the mother, you know, bring the child to term. But let's say something were to happen, you know, there are options. And not only that, but
if you can't take care of it yourself, there is adoption.
There's also adoption. You know, there's just so many ways. Like there's so many different ways.
Family members, all that kind of stuff.
What was that again?
Family members also can maybe help take care of.
Yeah, there's just so many options. And if they're not being consistent. If we murder babies because they're being inconvenient, why not murder
That's the next generation?
Inconvenient. You know, like if a baby inside the womb's not alive because they don't have a heartbeat, then why not kill grandma who requires a you know, an artificial heart herself or something like that? Like it's something where they're not being consistent. Like the arguments that they tend to use, they're very subjective, and they oftentimes
they're very selfish too.
They tend to be very selfish as well. So it's just something where it's quite saddening that that things
are going to affect me doing this, that, and the other thing, you know, instead of raising a family and stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody asked if you have kids or anything.
At this moment, I do not have a wife nor kids.
Okay. You're still young.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm pushing 70. So.
Oh, you look very young for your age. I wouldn't have guessed.
Oh, really? I'm also, I don't know if you're religious, but I had to go around with Antifa down in DC. I went there for the fireworks and at the Washington Monument. And when the lights went down for the fireworks to go off, they came in right behind Black Lives Matter. They came in too. They were making a lot of noise, but weren't harming anyone. But Antifa had all that PVC pipe, and they were jabbing people, hitting people, and they were jabbing me in the chest. And I ended up having dysarrhythmia for the next year and a half, and then I had a stroke. I was 100% paralyzed and of that, and I was on the breathing machine, the heart machine, everything. And they went in through my groin and took the blood clot out of my brain. And I got everything back. I word search a little bit. I can't think of a word once in a while for a few seconds, so I've come a long ways back. So I should have died. I had less than a 1% chance of living, and I made it. So my wife thinks that my mom and dad were looking down over me as angels, you know. So sorry for the long story.
That's understandable. People who are doing very good work at fighting against leftists within the Southern Baptist Convention would be William Edward Wolf and the Center for Baptist Leadership, which he's the executive director of. And he's really taken a bold stand within the SBC, especially since the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission for the Southern Baptist Convention is very much going out of their way to prevent people from saving lives inside the womb. And over in the state of Louisiana, they were trying to pass a bill which basically would have abolished murder inside the womb, or gotten close to it, I should say, over in the state of Louisiana. And you know, the only exceptions that I can think of were if it's a threat to the life of the mother. I think that was the only one. I'm of the stance that 0 exceptions. I don't like to. I don't like the idea of murdering someone.
Well, there's so many ways now that they can maybe take the baby earlier to save the mom, that kind of stuff. You know, take the baby and put it in an incubator or something. You know, there's so many more medical ways now that they can prevent that from happening anyways. You know,
research is improving, and it's just something where like I really like to hold out for research. And I've heard stories of mothers being told that the baby wouldn't survive anyways, and then both the mother and the baby end up surviving. But returning back
and
to,
they also claim that they have defects, and it's not true that they have defects.
Oh my, it's something else. And even if they do, they're still human beings. Like, why not preserve life? But the thing is that the ERLC, they went out of their way to kill this bill, and it was all under false pretenses. And people like William Edward Wolf, they have been shedding light on this issue and exposing the matter. And you know, I would just, anyone who's in the Southern Baptist Convention, that's someone who I would recommend following and teaming up with. You know, William Edward Wolf is doing a really great job. And you know, really, like, this is an issue that affects all of us, really, because these children, they're human beings just like us. You know, we were given the privilege.
You were once them
to live.
You were once them. We were a fetus at one time.
We were once babies inside the womb. You know, and I don't even use the term abortion that much. I use the term homicide inside the womb. I wouldn't say that I'm against using the word abortion, but I really like using that phrase because it helps to illustrate what's going on. You know, you're not like the word abortion. We can abort, you know, we can abort a rescue mission. We can abort this or that. But let's just make one thing clear. When you know, quote unquote, abort a baby, what's happening is that this child is being murdered. And oftentimes in very repugnant ways. Like they've been, many of them have been dismembered. Many of them, I've seen footage of an ultrasound where a doctor was trying to dismember a baby, and that poor baby was just trying to get away. Within the ultrasound is being shown that they were trying to like kick their way out of the doctor's grasp with his device and everything. You know, these are human beings, and many of them.
Somebody asked if you know the name of that one girl that was born with both her arms pulled off by an abortion that didn't end up happening, but her arms got pulled off.
I'm not aware of that situation per se, but
I do remember it. I just can't remember the name of the girl that testifies now against abortion.
It's something else. There have been many instances where babies have survived the homicide procedure, and then they grow up and they give their testimony, and it just goes to show that these have real consequences, you know, and they affect our society. We are living in a society right now here in the United States. Yeah, real quickly, we're living in a society here in the United States where we are producing less people than are being born, and people say, well, just bring them from other countries. But the problem is that at a certain point, you get to the point where the birth rate, and this is something that's happening almost worldwide, is so low. Yeah. Where can we replace people from? It's something where, like, if anything, we should be having more children. We should be encouraging people to have families. Having a family is a great. You're contributing tremendously towards our society if you have if you have a family. So if you're watching this and you're on the fence about whether or not you should murder your child, just keep in mind that what you're doing here is not okay. Should we as a society allow a 5-year-old to be murdered by their parents because they're inconvenient or because they might be scared that they don't know what to do? No, of course not. We should be consistent. We should not murder people. If you have a child and you're thinking about whether or not you should either keep the child or murder the child, keep the child. There are resources. There are people that can help.
And that's an innocent, unlike, say, a murderer that might execute. That's not an innocent life. The babies are totally innocent lives, you know?
What happened?
I was saying, some people in the audience, they didn't say this, but in the past, they've said that, well, you're for capital punishment. But I said, that's not an innocent life. A baby is always innocent life.
It's something where like I'm about saving lives. That's what I'm about. So it's just something where I'm big time on saving lives and protecting lives, and that's what my focus is on, especially at this season. And choose life, right?
And it's an innocent life. It totally is. Yeah. Here's what a baby is. Oh, it didn't start. Wait a second.
For this child, I have prayed, and you heard my cry. For this.
It was only a few seconds. Sorry. Let me.
No, that's understandable, but
yeah, that's for anyone that's debating that out there.
Yeah, it's something else. And from conception, they already have their own unique genetic sequence. So, like that's part of what makes us humans. We have our own unique genetic code, and that's what babies have. And people say, well, it's like, well, it's not sentient. Well, what do you do then with senile people?
And some of them are for abortion like 3, 4, 5 years after birth because they can't take care of themselves. I've actually seen one of them say, well, they're not sentient when after they're born for the first year or two. He was debating. Have you ever had to debate this? You went to college, right? Or no?
I went to college. I remember one time I went to.
Did you have this debate in college? Did you ever have this debate in college with any of the leftists?
Big time. I remember one time I was in my communications 102 class, and the professor, who under normal circumstances was very chill, she was listening to this guy who was telling, he was one of my fellow classmates, and he told a story about how he got a girl pregnant, basically, and how she, and he basically, insinuated that she had murdered her child. He didn't use those words, but it was basically, he kind of did it in an insinuated kind of way. And people in that class, a lot of them actually laughed. And I raised my hand, and the teacher called on me, and I started to talk about this is, a human being kind of thing. I was talking about that. And even though the guy himself, mind you, this is the same guy who got the woman pregnant, whose baby was murdered, he was chill with hearing me out. Okay, so he wasn't the one that was offended. But the professor immediately shut me down. I was not allowed to talk about that there. I tried 2 times, very respectfully, to say what needed to be said, and she just would not have it. And it's just crazy.
They get triggered, don't they?
Oh, big time. She was like at the top of her lungs. I don't know if she murdered a child at some point in her life, but she was very adamant against this topic of the pro-life issue being brought up. It's something that she was very adamant against, big time. And that's one of the reasons.
Aren't a lot of these college people very anti-God, anti-family? And a lot of the college
big time. They really are. They're very much against anything that would stand in their way of their goals. Interestingly enough, it seems like atheism's kind of in decline these last couple of years.
Oh, is it?
It does seem like that increasingly.
I am seeing more Christian revival type stuff going on.
Well, it's something where people debate as to whether or not Christianity is on the rise or not here in the United States. But what I will say is that atheism is in decline here in the United States. But regardless, even if 99% of people were atheists or something like that, that doesn't increase or decrease the possibility that the universe was created. Just the complexity. And I write about this on X, just about how complex the universe is, and just the probability of it being created itself. And I talk a lot about the issues that we've been talking about today, whether it be AI safety, whether it be saving lives inside the womb, whether it be preventing wars, which is a topic we haven't discussed so far, but I write about that as well. Science. I talk about a lot of thought-provoking topics as well. So if you want to get equipped with the knowledge, with the skill set to save lives, if you want to get involved, then that's a great way to not only help learn yourself, but also to help me by amplifying my voice. The more you like, repost, share, and follow, the more I'm able to get this message out to other people. So if
where can people find you?
I'm on X at Pro Abolition, as my name tag there says. You can also find me there at Cloud Hub. You can also look up the word Pro Abolition there, and also on Instagram. So those are great ways that you can find me. And I'm just very, I try to post very high quality content. And lately, especially, I've been trying to post unique content on each one of those platforms. So if you follow me on all three, you gain a lot through that. But if you can only follow me on one, if you only choose to follow me on one, I would say X. That's where the future of humanity itself is most rigorously debated. If someone posts something on X,
free speech there too,
Oh yeah, that's also that as well. So I'm less likely to get canceled there than I am on Instagram. Cloud Hub, I think, is also very chill, but X, I'm much more likely to stay on there. Cloud Hub has recently been shown to be more susceptible towards cybersecurity attacks, which, interestingly enough,
they took it down. They took it down. I used to get between 1 and 2 million views per video on that, and someone hacked it and they destroyed it. They had to rebuild it from scratch.
Yeah, it's
I had to start from zero again, from followers and all that.
Yeah, it's something where, like, if I decide to go on the cybersecurity route, because I'm leaning more towards artificial intelligence safety lately, but they both kind of overlap. So the skill set's applicable either way. But I might, if anyone here is from Cloud Hub, I'd be willing to consider a job there.
This isn't live on Cloud Hub right now. I used to do lives on there until they got taken down, but this will be replayed on Cloud Hub. So maybe they'll. I'm going to have it up on there. Actually, I'm going to share the link over there later. So I might see some people. I only have like about 800 people following me there on Cloud Hub or something so far. It used to be millions. So I don't know. Until they took it down, I couldn't even figure out what's wrong. In fact, I got a picture. Let's see if I can find it here quick. From that, what they sent me or whatever about it being taken down. Did you see that or no? I'm trying to find it.
I was not using Cloud Hub as much when Elon Musk did his little maneuver to get X back. Not really get it back, but to take over X and make it more free speech once more. He, I kept posting more on X and everything. Back then, I had a pathetic number of following.
I don't know if you can see that. That's from Cloud Hub. And up in here, they're talking about how they were hacked and they destroyed their servers and all that kind of stuff. And they had to rebuild the whole platform from scratch. There was just no fixing it, they said. Can hackers really do it that much that they destroy their computers, really?
Oh, there's many ways in which a hacker can just go in. They can.
Well, they said it was a team of hackers, but yeah.
Yeah, if it's a team of hackers, they can do even more damage. They can go in. They can go in undetected. They can put ransomware, where the information is encrypted. Unless you pay them, then you end up basically in a situation where your information never gets encrypted.
Well, no, they just didn't like the conservative message, I guess. Oh, here it is. Here's the part that it was. This platform, can you see that or not yet?
Barely.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll try to enlarge it. Platform experience an unexpected distributive takedown. So they basically took them down. I don't read out loud that great anymore since my stroke. So they tried to restore the data from the old platform, and they weren't possible to do it, I guess. They couldn't even get the data back, I guess. So they had to start from scratch. They had to rewrite all the programs and everything too. So you can't go live there right now. So I don't know. Did you get this on Cloud Hub or no from them?
So what happened was I had to create a brand new account because mine didn't exist.
Same
I
here.
didn't know what was going on, so I had to make a new one.
Same here.
And, yeah, it's intense because I no longer have a verification badge there. But I'm on there again. Pro Abolitions, where you can find me. I was talking about like ways that
they tried to shut us up, is what they're trying to do.
Oh, big time. I was speaking broadly speaking how cyber attacks work, but yeah, people can't do a lot of damage, which is yet another reason why we need more conservatives in the field of tech, is so that we can better prepare for these types of attacks. Because if like someone finds an exploit in the software before the people who own Cloud Hub, for example, do, then they can go in, they can start doing a lot of damage. A 0-day exploit is a huge find. Like people want to find ways that they can get into a system before the good guys do, and relatively speaking, when the people who are on the conservative side do, because that way they can go in and they can take them down. They've tried to do similar things on.
Well, somehow they went in and trashed their hardware, their servers' hardware. They trashed it somehow by hacking it. I didn't think they could do that, but maybe if you get into the BIOS and all that kind of stuff, and they have servers, I don't know. Maybe you know more about that than I do. I'm kind of a computer geek, but not to that level.
Well, from the looks of it, Cloud Hub hasn't released a full report as to exactly how they did it. There's many ways that you can damage a network of computers and servers. So there's not like one way that can be done. And oftentimes we may never know exactly how they did it. They may have just gone in, corrupted a bunch of the files, and just caused a lot of damage. And there's really no way of finding out what happened.
Well, my understanding is that they replace a lot of hardware. So it's my understanding from chatting with some other ones in message over there. So I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it's not true, but that's what they had heard. So in any case, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's just many ways that a cybersecurity attack can be conducted. But at the same time, on the flip side, there's many ways that a hacker can be found out. So if they do just one thing incorrectly, then their hands are caught red-handed. So it's just all the more the reason to just get involved. And not only that, but ways in which these kind of attacks, the damage that can be done, the ways that they can be mitigated against is by conducting network segmentation, where instead of having everything on just this very large network, and here I'm speaking in broad terms here when it comes to cybersecurity best practices, instead of having everything on the same network, have everything on different networks, so that if one of them goes down, everything is still good.
Many backup systems and this and that. And no bridge to get from one to the other, where if they attack one, they can get to the other one. There shouldn't be any bridge, I guess, right?
You want to ensure that lateral movement from one network to another is not possible when proper segmentation has been conducted. So the best way to do it is just by making sure that not everything is using the same Wi-Fi, just making sure that there's different routers and different things for all these different little networks, and having physical
and different passwords for each thing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. It's sad just how many people reuse the same old passwords, or they have very simple
very similar ones.
Yeah, so, like password or something like that. Don't use the word, if you're watching this, don't use password as my password or something very simple.
Wasn't it someone on the left that did that? Use password as their password? Who is that on the
believe it or
left?
not, there are people that use the word password or password 1234 as their
Yeah.
as their password. No, you want to have a password that has like 3 or 4 words, a couple of random characters, some uppercase, some lowercase, an exclamation point, or some other kind of character that just makes it really difficult to guess. You know,
I'll tell you something off the air because I used to track and find ISIS people at one time. So I'll tell you something off the air about that on a good way to keep them from hacking you, you know, in terms of finding your password. So because there's software that they can see it, you know, with Wireshark and stuff like that, you know, in any case. But I'll tell you off the air. I can't say it on there. And that.
That's
So,
understandable.
yeah. This is a little bit more on the AI stuff Charlie Kirk was talking about. I believe this is the right video. I'm not positive.
Creep you guys out. This is totally fake. Be careful what you see. Play cut 541. Americans have every right to be, because it should have been done sooner. For the longest time, corporations have been allowed to price gouge on regulated industries like insurance. And now, because of this administration, every American has a right to go to this page and request a state-applied reduction to any auto insurance bill. The subsidy lowers your payment without any loss of coverage. All carriers have to comply, and if you're a U.S. citizen, go do it this week. What you just heard there was completely fake, made by AI, and it's tricking millions of people. Don't fall.
So someone made a false video of him doing that with AI. He didn't do that one, and they were scamming people.
Yeah, that's known as deepfakes. It's basically where one uses an AI in order to make someone create footage of someone saying something that they didn't actually say. That's something that's become a real thing. If we've been keeping track of that, it's gotten to the point where it's getting almost impossible, and may have already gotten there, where someone can recreate someone so accurately that it is impossible for someone to tell whether or not this video is genuine or not. So
it seems like only AI is the only ones that can figure out that it is fake, you know?
Yeah, it might have I might have to look into this further after the show, but it may already have gotten to a point, or we might be getting close to a point where it is impossible for even an AI to tell whether or not the video is fake, because, you know, as long as one is able to put the right pixels in the right place, one can make footage of anyone saying or doing anything. It's just a matter of mathematics. So it's something where it's just very important that we get careful, that we be very careful.
Is there any signature in the code that tells whether it's a live video or if it's coming from a computer generation?
What was that first part again?
Is there anything in the code that could be found that tells you whether it's a live video or if it's being generated by a computer?
Whether it's a live video or whether it's
like you and I are live right now, or if it's being generated, like we're not really here and it's being generated by a computer. Is there anything in the code, if they were to break down the code of the video, is there any differences in them?
Is there any differences? That's a good question. I don't know specifically, like all the, like I couldn't exactly give a deep dive into like every scenario, but what I can say is that you want to make sure that you're on the right page, you know? So like, for example, instead of logging into, let's say it was back in the day, just give a little analogy, instead of going to, you know, I'll just use Facebook. Like, let's say instead of going to Facebook with an .com, no, you want to make sure that's spelled correctly. When you go to a website, you want to make sure that it's spelled correctly. That way you don't get misled and just scammed out of your money or scammed out of your passwords, etc.
Yeah, there's redirects in some of those things too and stuff.
Yeah, right? Redirections can also happen as well. So you want to hover when you're on a computer. What you want to do is you want to hover over a link to make sure that's actually
the right link,
the correct link.
Yeah.
You also
the right URL comes up instead of, you know, it might look like it on the screen, such and such Facebook, but if you hover over it, it'll say what the actual link is,
what
right?
the actual address is. Yeah, and there's that, and there's also the best practice of backing up your data, just making sure that you have everything backed up to flash drives, to have them in other places, so that if your computer
I used to
gets
burn
hacked,
stuff to
you don't
DVDs and stuff, to save stuff.
just save everything in different ways, because if your computer just gets hacked into, you could lose like weeks, if not months worth of progress. And all it takes is just clicking on one wrong link. So it's just very important to just back up things, not click on malicious things, and be very careful, especially if people are asking you for money. If someone's asking you for money, you better be
There's a lot of
very
scams out there.
that you better be very certain that you're giving it to the right place. Make sure.
Sometimes they're phishing to get your information so they can use it to take out loans and stuff. That kind
Oh
of
yeah,
crap.
big time. That
Yeah.
can happen through phishing attacks, and also that can even happen to executive leaders. So people who get six-figure salaries.
And Congress people and officials. This is a story. It's a quick one about Marco Rubio. They thought they used AI to have him talk to foreign leaders. Did you hear about this one?
Not that instance specifically, but I have heard people try to replicate the,
Well, they got away with it. Believe it or not. Here's the story.
An investigation is underway this morning into how AI was used to impersonate Secretary of State Marco Rubio and who's responsible for it. The State Department alerting U.S. diplomats in an internal memo obtained by NBC News, saying the alleged AI Rubio imposter contacted at least 5 high-level government officials, including 3 foreign ministers, a U.S. governor, and a member of Congress. State Department officials say the actor likely aimed to manipulate targeted individuals using AI-generated text and voice messages, reportedly using this email address and leaving voicemails on the messaging app Signal.
Have you heard of this?
Not that instance specifically, but I have seen deep fakes of people trying to impersonate Obama and even Trump. So yeah, it's very important that we be careful what we watch these days, because that's become a thing. And
you think that the government would have so many safeguards against that they could tell that wasn't really him. That address looked official,
Yeah, it's just something where no human under the sun is infallible. So it's something where if we get elected into public office and we receive an email or something like that and we're not careful, and we can't be deceived. So it's just something that it's just very important that people be up to speed with best practices in cybersecurity, and just be very careful with who they're interacting with, and so forth. It's just very easy to get hoodwinked these days.
Have you ever been fooled by AI on anything?
AI on anything. Could you be more specific?
Well, anything that you thought was real and it turned out to be AI and you didn't know it, or even there's videos that are very realistic now.
They're very realistic. It's something where like there have been instances. I think most, if not all of them, I knew beforehand that the video was going to be fake. So there's that. But we live in an age where, like, if you were to play in front of me 10 videos and 5 of them were created by AI and 5 of them were created by humans, I'm pretty sure I would have a very difficult time determining which one's the real one and which one's the fake one, unless there was something. Yeah, unless there was like some very little detail that got left out or something like that, I'm pretty sure I would fail miserably, just like everyone else. So it's very.
Me too. Is there any particular software that you recommend to help prevent against any of this stuff? A lot of people are doing the VPN things and stuff like that.
VPN has more to do with how
you're seeing
how one gets information from point A to point B without one
being seen on
their IP address.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Yeah, you being seen. What it basically does is bounces around all over the web before it comes back to more than 40 stops. But that connection slows you down a little bit, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. It slows you down because you have to communicate from point A to point B, and maybe even etc.
Before you go to China before it comes back, and then they'll artificially make it look like you're, say, in India or when you're not, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it can appear to be that way. There are ways to detect whether or not someone's using a VPN. So just keep in mind, you're using a VPN. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're free to do crimes. Don't do crimes. That's the easiest way not to get caught, is to not make, not go about being lawless. I would say that. But yeah, it's something where when it comes to detecting deep fakes and so forth, there's very little that we can do about it right now. Like I said before, just be very careful. It's just be careful with what links you see, and also just be careful with what's circulating around the web. One thing that you can do to help out mitigate against this a little bit is to check multiple sources. Like, what is this person and that person and that person saying about it? Because it could be that one part of the internet doesn't know what's going on. They genuinely think that Trump is pushing us to World War III. And he's saying that.
I think really he prevented it in a way.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, let's say someone were to create a deep fake of Trump and saying, I'm about to launch all these nukes at China, World War III is going to happen, and all these things, and there's a deep fake going on. Well, be careful. Is someone like, the Tucker Carlson News Network or Fox News, are they reporting on it? Are they saying, hey, red alert, there's a deep fake going on, don't buy into it. It could be that someone's generating a deep fake. This could also theoretically happen to other leaders like Newsom or AOC or all these things. Just be very careful with what's out there on the internet. Make sure that there's a verification badge if there's someone that's very influential. Let's say that Elon Musk, for example, he quote unquote followed you on X. You gotta be very careful. Like, wait a minute, does this have to check the official check mark on it and everything? Because chances are Elon Musk is not gonna send you $1 million if you simply follow him and send him a direct message.
I know. It just some people are so gullible, it's ridiculous. So
it's sad, but that's the world that we live in.
Yeah, that's insane. If you ask me, I don't know. So somebody asked about pro-life rallies. Have you got any coming up that you know of that are happening, or
that are happening?
Do you have any? Have you ever gone to pro-life rallies or speeches or?
Well, let's see. So up until more recently, I mean, you guess you couldn't tell just because like I'm sitting down right now. But up until more recently, I've been dealing with health problems in my right foot and so forth. So walking about and everything was very difficult. Up until a while back, I was moving about in a wheelchair and everything, and then I transitioned to using a cane with a wheelchair, and now I don't. I use the cane a little bit when I'm at home.
Did you have surgery or something?
No, I did not have surgery. I've done a lot of physical therapy to help out with my problems and so forth. And I'm not out of the woods yet, but it's been tough. It's been tough. But I have been doing a lot of stuff from home, and that's been helpful. I produced this little video. That's when I created. That's when I created a.
This is on your YouTube channel, right?
Huh?
This is your YouTube.
This is my YouTube channel. I created a Cloud Hub. This is when I created Cloud Hub and Instagram accounts. But like I said before, if you can only follow me on one, follow me on X. But this was when I was. This was when I was brand new once again, because Cloud Hub got taken down, and I made a video promoting my new page.
They censor you on YouTube, that you'll put stuff up there and hardly anyone can see it though, it happens a lot. So
it happens a lot. So
yeah, they ratio it, so all right, I'm gonna play it a little bit. You can talk during it if you wish.
Do you want to be a hero? Do you want to help save lives of human beings around the world? Hello everyone, I wanted to make the quick announcement that I'm now on Instagram and Cloud Hub.
Yep. I was going to back that up so everyone can catch your Instagram. What's the name here on Instagram?
Pro-abolition. So it's the same as on X. The only
okay.
difference being the @ symbol's not there, which I don't think is applicable for Instagram.
Okay.
Announcement that I'm now on Instagram and CloudHub. You can find me there, Pro-abolition. Again, that's Pro-abolition. If for some reason you can't find me that way, just look up my name, Juan Andres Carrasco, and hope you guys can help me out because I'm on a mission to protect humanity from wars amongst humans. I'm trying to save the lives of preborn babies.
A lot of the wars is money laundering, like the whole Ukraine thing.
In other words, babies inside their mother's wombs. We gotta protect them. And by following me, you guys are able to amplify my voice and get equipped with the knowledge and skill set to save human lives. So feel free to follow me there on CloudHub, Instagram, Pro-abolition. I'm still on X. You can follow me there at Pro-abolition. I post regularly on X.
That's right.
So do what you can to help me out. Ideally, follow me on all three. Yet if that doesn't work for you, follow me on at least one of those social media sites. So
Ideally, X.
the more you help, the bigger impact you will have. Thank you all for listening, and let's save human lives.
I agree, 100%.
Big
So,
time.
yeah.
Just so that people don't misunderstand, it's not that I've stopped using X. I'm actually planning on posting a thread. A thread is basically when you post one post after another.
General relativity allows black holes to rotate.
Trying to stop
The
this.
faster a black hole.
Sorry. Is
Yeah,
this
so
your channel?
like, huh?
Wisdom that matters.
Wisdom that matters. So yeah, so I'm planning. I'm posting more videos. I'm gonna be reorganizing stuff soon. Posting new videos, taking down other ones, and the best content is yet to come. So if you go on there right now, it's not the channel's not
You're just
as
starting
good as
out.
it should be, but it's gonna get better. I'm gonna be posting a lot more videos, and on X, I have a thread that I'm working on AI safety, and I have another one even on surviving a hypothetical T-Rex attack, just for the fun of it. You know, that's something that just you learn in an educational way. That's also fun as well while we're at it. I post polls there, and it's just something that I put a lot of work into over the years, especially these last couple of years since around the time that Elon Musk was going to take over and so forth. And I'm very humbled to report that I have over 300 followers, despite the fact that I'm only following 53 at the moment that we're recording.
Well, I don't have the blue check mark either, so I only have like a little over 5,000 there. You know, so I was more on Facebook and YouTube at one time, and then they banned me from both for a while. You know, until Trump came back in. So I was against the jab and all that kind of stuff at one time too. So they definitely didn't want you to have that on there. Too much pharma money in that, you know. So and all that. So do you think you'll ever run for office?
It depends on the situation. It's something that I'm open towards. Right now, I'm in a season of my life where by teaching other people how to be equipped with the knowledge to debate against homicide in the womb, by teaching people about AI safety and so forth, that can have a huge impact in the culture around us. Some of my posts on X get like thousands of views, some over 10,000. So it's just something where, despite the fact that I have a smaller platform, there are ways that one can get a boost. You know, if someone reposts what you do, or you post regularly, you can get momentum. And yeah, you know, definitely join me for the adventure. You know, like I'm on a mission to save lives. I'm on a mission to help people out. And you can learn a lot of stuff too along the way, and including the stuff that we've talked about in the past. I plan to write more about that in the future. You know, like concepts that we've covered here, like utility, function, instrumental goals, terminal goals, in the field of AI safety. And I even plan to write more about different concepts in AI safety, such as coachability, and AI sandbagging. So you can learn a lot from join me
The thing
there.
about running for office is you got to get some name recognition.
Oh yeah, that too. So yeah, so something where like, if let's say I want to run for office or promote certain people that are running for office, name recognition is something that would be the next step forward. So whether it be that,
Yeah,
or
Trump wouldn't have won back in 2016 if he wasn't well known. He could have the same opinions, but if he wasn't well known, he wouldn't have been able to stand up to the left. You know.
Yeah, the name recognition is very important. I'm not here to endorse this person or that person, but it's definitely true that if you want to make an impact in the culture, you definitely want to be well known, work hard, and that's what I've been doing. Like regularly, I post something new, and
well, you're in a state that you could probably win out there, being Utah, right?
Nevada.
Nevada. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, no worries.
Nevada's kind of purple now. It's kind of half red.
Yeah, it's something where like
seems to be moving to the right a little bit.
Yeah, it seems a little bit. It's just because people have been turning out to vote more and stuff, and not only that, but one of the big reasons because the left has just moved so far to the left.
Yeah,
the
trans issue and everything else. Parents' rights. They're taking away parents' rights on a lot of things, right?
The thing is that they've moved so far to the left that it's getting harder for them to win. And not only that, but Governor Steve Sisolak, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He wasn't the best governor, so he just ended up being defeated by Governor Joe Lombardo. So it's just something where like one can win in theory if one lives in the right part of the state of Nevada.
Are you seeing Latinos start to move away from the left? I wouldn't say it's quite 50-50 yet, but it's getting closer to that.
It's getting closer to that, especially among men. I think a lot of it's just because we've been lied to so many times that little by little people have been waking up to what's been going on, and the radical left it's almost my prediction would be is that if Hispanics started voting, especially illegal immigrants, started voting 80-20 for the Republican Party, they would want. I'm pretty sure they would want secure borders. Immediately, they would be like, "No, we gotta secure this and all that stuff."
The reason why a lot of the illegals coming in are voting for them, they're giving them free health care, free EBT cards, and all that, free plane rides to the things, free hotels. In New York, they were putting them up at $700 a night for these hotels, and we're paying for it as tax dollars. There were billions of dollars they spent on that for in New York City because they wanted the Democrat voters. That's exactly. They wanted to have one party rule from now on. That's what they wanted.
And here's the thing: is that what I was gonna say.
I interrupted.
You don't want none of us should want the radical left to be in charge. But here's the thing: a lot of the people from Latin America, they come from socialist countries with socialist governments. They've never been exposed to a worldview where capitalism helps people out, where it accomplishes the stuff that is accomplished here for the U.S. Capitalism has actually lifted billions of people.
You know, I should get you to go on Orbis.net. It's a Latino platform that's very conservative. Very, a lot of them came from socialist countries like Cuba and places like that. Orbis.net. I'll send you a link. So
thank you. I'll look into it.
Yeah, that's a Latino. It's like 60% Latino, conservative, very religious, very pro-life, pro-everything. You know, so that's one of the platforms I'm going to restream this on. I was trying to stream it live there, but it didn't work when we restarted, so I had to restart it. But I'll replay this later tomorrow morning on that, and I'll send you a link from that. Okay.
I'll check it out. You know,
yeah.
I like to do my due diligence before I join something, but I'll keep an open mind, and you know.
Yeah, it's kind of an upstart. The guy who owns it, lives in Florida, and he's wrote his own software. He owns everything. You know, Biden tried to get rid of him. They took away their data servers from him, so he has to host it up on Rumble Cloud as their data service. He's got his own. He owns his own server, his own software, everything. Because Biden was trying to shut them down. They didn't want Latinos going conservative. In the Miami area, a lot of Latinos have gone conservative because they're from Cuba and they hate socialism. That in Venezuela. So.
From what I hear, there are a lot of conservative Hispanic people over in the state of Florida, and it's not just Cubans, from what I hear. So it's just something where little by little things are changing, and it's just imperative that we make our voice heard now, and also that we just be careful, because the left hasn't the woke have not gone away. Many times throughout history, it looked like Marxists were defeated or we're heading in that direction, and they bounced back much stronger. So it's imperative that we be very careful. We take care of our institutions, and we do what we got, what must be done in a way that is ethical. We may not necessarily agree on everything, and there's certain things that we might not be able to do. Just because I believe this and you believe that, so we might not be necessarily starting a church together, but we can, form political coalitions to defeat the radical leftists and so forth. And sometimes you have to maneuver through the waters in a certain way, but I just try to be very ethical about the things that I do, and I try to be very loving, and try to explain things in a humble way when possible.
Yeah, I hear you. So if you got any left mental BS, yeah, you're right, Kirk. He says that left feeds everyone the mental BS. They're lying quite often when they get out there. They're talking about everyone's going to lose their health care and this and that, right? And they're lying. They're taking away the healthcare from the illegals, actually, is what's happening. And some people that were born 300 years ago that don't even exist, that kind of stuff. This is where they're losing healthcare. Do you see that there were some people that were getting money from Social Security and they aren't even born yet?
I have heard of that. I've heard
yeah.
of that. That's just,
well,
it's something else.
There's some like 15 million or something getting services that are all bogus, So that's someone else probably that works at the agencies that are filling out those things or something and getting themselves some extra money or something like that. You never worked in government yourself, have you?
I've never worked in government. Let's see. That I'm aware of, no.
Did you ever work in government?
Did I ever work in government? That off the top of my head, I can't remember that. I've tried to get into government jobs in the past. When I was at CSN, which I'm not, they ended up kicking me out because I was just not politically correct. To give a short answer, but
well, I know a lot of people that lost their jobs because they wouldn't take the jab that were in government. So
I had a club at CSN that was very conservative, and so I guess in that sense, I was involved with the government via the public school system. But aside from that, I can't think of much, if anything at all.
I can't drag that over. So someone posted a real good link. I'll share it to you later. Well, maybe I can do it another way. Hold on. Let me save the image as and then do it that way. Okay. I gotta close this somehow and then bring it up. So I don't know. I can see you running someday. Now in your family, are they starting to change over now? Or I asked you this before we went live, but
one of my family members is her thinking is more conservative leaning these days. But yeah.
Do they let you come to Christmas dinner and all that kind of stuff? Or
my family and I, my nuclear family, we're relatively close. We've been through a lot, and you can love people even when you disagree with them. And I try very hard to one degree or another to show my nuclear family members that I love them, that I care about And it's very important that we share our love with our friends, the people that we care about, and that sounds like a great idea for another thread on X. It's just about how to build leadership, how to build local communities, and so forth. This has been such a privilege and an honor. I was wondering if we could begin to wind it down about
No,
5
just
minutes.
closing argument and go for it.
Huh?
Go closing your closing statement and we'll go.
Closing
Go ahead.
statement.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like life is sacred. That's what I've been trying to say throughout the entirety of this video. It's very important that we get involved, that we save lives. Don't be the kind of person who is just quiet when people are debating politics. Make your voice heard. There are times when you have to be wise. Like you wouldn't just want to start talking to someone who has a gun with their hand and try to win them over. Then that might not be the best time to win them over. More likely than not, things could go wrongly. So you gotta be. There's some certain situations where you gotta be careful, but make yourself heard. There are 365 days in a year, and not one of those days is guaranteed. So while we're alive, let's make an impact. Let's take care of those whom love us. Let's help out humanity. Let's live lives with purpose where we help other people out. If you're depressed, just know you're not going through this alone. There's so many other people out there that are going what you're going through. And if you overcome this, and you can, by the way, then you can help other people also. And we can live lives with so much value and so much, and just do so much for the world. And any moral support that people can give me and help, and all the suggestions that I've given, by the way, are absolutely free, mind you. Like by helping me, I can help others also. And even if you decide not to follow me, definitely live a life that's worth living, where you take care of others. But I would also add, and this is the final thing, it's just remember the importance of resting. We're not machines. Take time with your family and with your friends to hang out and just live a happy life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, it was a pleasure having you on. I'm going to end this. Hang around though for another minute or two. Okay. All right. Thank you. God bless everyone. Take care. Bye bye. Hold on.